Good day everyone, Trainer Maxim with you. Thank you very much for joining me for this quick fix series. Today we're going to work on improving your hip hinges. Of course, thank you everyone for your support, your comments, suggestions, greatly appreciated. Your generosity, super thanks, amazing. My support angels, thank you. Thank you everyone. The hip hinges, similarly a very simple exercise. That's how I keep seeing them done at the gym. Let me demonstrate. First, many of you do them this way. You stand tall and you just hinge at the hips as you think. Like this, 1 and 2, and again, at the hips. Doing a great job keeping the spine tall, good. Or the other version would be just looking down, 1 and 2. Less popular, but still I see them quite often. 2. Okay, let's try to improve on the hip hinges in general. But to do that, we need to know a couple of things about our spine. Our spine, as a structure, has no ability to move itself in space. I know, sounds ridiculous. The spine can't move itself forward or back with its own muscles. All the spinal muscles are attached spine-spine. No matter how long they are, no matter how strong they can pull, they pull in the direction of the spine, along the spine, and along the spine only. So by definition, if those muscles are engaged, they can either crunch the spine, they can change the shape of the spine, or they can kind of arch the spine. So arching, crunching with the core, arching, crunching. If we want the spine to move forward, just like in this fashion, then we need to find some other muscles that are attached to the spine and to something else. Because in order for me to move this back, I need to grab this back here, using my feet as a third attachment point, pull it toward my body, or push it away. But if I were to attach myself on the back, just hang on the back and pull it down, I will not be able to move the back sideways. Unless I do some awkward thing, I crunch the spine, the gravity takes me forward, and I fall down. At this point, it's not done under our control. We don't like it. So keeping this in mind, the spinal muscles can't move the spine back and forth. We need to make sure that we're not thinking while doing the hip hinges that we are moving the spine down with the spine, because you inevitably will crunch on the stomach to facilitate your desire. Because if you start leading with the spine forward, 1, yes, you kind of hinge in here, but you already bent at the stomach. And now you realize that you bent in the stomach. You would like to prevent your lower back from damage, and you will be doing this, arching. Well, that's equally damaging for the spine. So now the spine is leaned forward awkwardly, and in addition, you're overarching the mid-spine muscles. So now the whole structure of the spine essentially is supported only by the mid-lower back, and you require the spine to pull. But again, if you lead with the spine in your mind, you think, in order to bring the weight, I need my spine to go up. And essentially, the spine can't lift itself up with the spinal muscles, but it can arch the spine, and that's what exactly you're going to do. Arching the spine and somehow lifting it. This way will greatly overload the lower back muscles because they're already shortened, and you require more shortening in order to somehow get up, simply because your mind is not put in the right place. Let's fix it. It's actually a very simple fix. First thing we need to do is to keep the spine tall. Spine tall, upper spine up, lower spine down. So the spine stays neutral, no arching, no crunching. Engage all the spinal muscles here in order to glue vertebrae to one another. So now your spine has structure. Great. It cannot crunch, it cannot arch. Nice. In addition, you keep the rib cage expanded. Fantastic. You engage the diaphragm. Now the rib cage cannot collapse. So now you make sure that the spine cannot be crunched. Great. While the diaphragm muscle is supporting the spine, and I have a video on this, supporting the spine, now your core muscles can nicely engage because they're not going to crunch your spine. Since the rib cage cannot drop into the stomach because we have a very rigid inflatable ball inside. The diaphragm holds the rib cage, The core nicely engages. Perfect. Now you have all encompassing engagement of the core, making sure that your spine cannot arch actually, even if you attempt with this setup. So if you lock the spine between two groups of muscles, spinal muscles, tall spine, supported with the diaphragm, and in the front, core muscles. Now, your attempt to crunch, out of luck. Your attempt to arch, out of luck. Great, your spine is very stable. So the goal of the spine with the hip hinges is to keep its shape and play a very hard lever so that you can transfer the force you create by other muscle through this lever to lift the weight. Just like with my stick, I cannot lift the dumbbell with the stick being flimsy. So the structure of the stick will not allow me to transfer the power, transfer the strength I create with my wrist. No luck, I can't. But if I turn the stick other way and make it a little bit harder, then in theory, if I have quite strong stick, now I can actually transfer the power and lift something off the floor using my stick as a lever. So exactly the same thing I'm doing to my spine. I'm turning my spine into the very hard lever, which cannot bend, which cannot crunch, and now I can transfer the force I create with other muscles to move the spine back and forth under the workload or not. So I hope this concept is clear. The spine can't move itself. The spine needs to hold its shape to be a very robust, nice lever, whether you're doing the deadlifts or squats or anything else. Now the question is how we move the spine forward. Well, super simple. We have the hip flexor muscles here. Essentially, the hip hinge is the movement of the leg forward relative to the spine, if you look at this in this angle. So when your hip hinges, see how your legs are forming 90-degree angle to the spine. So it's an equivalent of bringing the leg up with the hip flexors like this. Your hip flexors are the lower back muscles. They're attached. One of them here goes on the bottom of the pelvis, exits here, attached to the leg here. That's great. So in the other hip flexors inside, iliacus, inside the hip, right here, pancake-like structure, it uses the same tendon as the first one, as the psoas here. And they're both pulling on the leg up, but also in reverse, they have a capacity to pull the pelvis into the tilt. One, and that's exactly how we lean the spine forward. You're just thinking spine holds its tension, good, supported, tall rib cage core. And now you're picturing your hip flexors muscles pulling on the pelvis into the anterior tilt, kinda, but not really anterior tilt, just pulling on the front. And since the spine is not giving up its structure, the whole spine is going down because the hip flexors are attached to the leg, so they're using the other object for the first attachment point, the legs. And using the stable leg structure, they pull on the pelvis into the front tilt. Since your spine is rigid, locked between those spinal groups, the spine will be taken into a nice hip hinge without bending in the stomach, without arching or anything of the kind. That's how we do the way down. How would we get the spine up? Again, we have different muscles. We have the glutes and the muscles of the back part of the legs. Glutes are attached to the leg here, again, third point, not to the spine, and to the pelvis here. So on the way up, essentially what we're doing, it's the relative movement of the leg to the spine. So essentially the way up looks like this for the leg, from the leg's perspective. That's what you're doing. So when you're going up, you're not thinking that it's your spine which is going up. You're thinking hip flexors brought me down through the resistance of the glutes. Now the glutes are grabbing my pelvis and pulling it into the upright position. One. And because my spine holds its shape, it's a very robust lever, I transfer the force I created by the glutes onto the spinal structure, and the whole this spinal structure is being lifted up just in this way. So the glute muscles are here, the front muscles, the hip flexors, tilted the pelvis forward. So let's say this is the pelvis. We're tilting the pelvis forward with the hip flexors. One. Nice. Spine is there. Spine holds its structure. Fantastic. The glute muscles are grabbing the pelvis in the back and dragging the pelvis down. One. And the whole spine is going upward. And that's it. That's simple. So to go down, we're thinking hip flexors pulling the spine down, stretching our glutes. Therefore, by stretching your glutes, you're in control of the descent of the spine. One glute stretched, nice hamstring stretch, you're in control. And with the glutes up, hip flexors, glutes up, hip flexors, glutes up. At no point you should think my spine is going down, because you will do this spine down and you will be losing it, because if you don't allow the pelvis to move back to facilitate the balance, at some point your toes will not be able to hold you, the lever is too long, and God forbid you have some weight in front, you will have to compromise, you will have to bend in the stomach like this one, and you will hurt yourself. That's not good. So I know that they say when you do the hip hinge you need to stick the butt out. You do not stick the butt out, because if you tell yourself stick the butt out, chances are you will be doing it through the arching of the lower back. This is for many people, stick the butt out. You will be compromising the integrity of the spine by doing this. Go forward, stick the butt out. One. Over engagement of the lower back muscles. You're taking all the spinal muscles off the equation and start relying only on the lower back engagement here, because somebody told you stick the butt out. You also just don't want to think I want to lead my butt back, because by doing this, again, chances are you will arch. Lead the butt back and you'll be going on the heels if you do that too much. We just need to realize that this movement of the spine, of the pelvis back, happens naturally due to the structure of the spine. Look at this. We have the, let's say, stick here, and the spine sits in a mild tilt relative to the spine here. So if I organically allow the spine to rotate around my legs, like around the hip sockets, because that's why it's called hip hinge, we're rotating the spine inside the around the legs. The spine sits on top of the leg muscles here, the leg bones, and rotate the spine down around these bones. So my pelvis is approximately like 20 centimeters. If right activation happens, then of course the pelvis will go back naturally without you thinking arch my lower back more or reach back, because by reaching back you also might start pushing yourself with the legs back. One. In a way, in attempt to follow the advice, reach back with the spine. No, you don't think stick the butt out. You don't think butt out. You just know, due to the physics of the movement, the lever of the spine is staying hard, not changing its shape. The lower back muscles, represented by the hip flexors, taking your pelvis into the tilt. One. And you're still staying with the body weight distributed nicely on the feet, approximately. You're sitting here, not on the heels, not pushing back, not too much forward. Here, you see how my balance is nice. I'm still supported. Even with the weight, I'm supported. I'm keeping the spinal structure. And now I'm thinking up, contraction on the glutes, glutes pulling me up. One, hip flexors pulling me down. Two, glutes pulling me up. Three, hip flexors down. Four, squeeze the glutes, pulling the pelvis up. Five. And that's how you do the hip hinge. All the good morning exercises you do, guys, at the gym, done with the spine returned back into the upright position with the glutes muscles. For that reason, you will see professional powerlifters will have a form of diamond in the legs when they do this, because the glutes are attached on the side. When you activate the glutes, they will pull the legs slightly sideways. Let me show you from the front. So that's what happens when you just think spine forward. Spine forward. See how my knees buckled in? Because the glutes are not stretched. I did not allow my lever of the spine go nicely, organically back. So the glutes did not engage. I'm unsupported. I'm crunched. I have to over-engage these guys. Versus, if I think, okay, spine is just a lever. It's hold its structure. Rib cage supported by the diaphragm. Tall core. Nice. Hip flexors going down. One, my glutes are engaged, supporting me. See what the knees are doing? They're forming this form of diamond because I'm supported with the glutes. And now on the way up, I'm thinking glutes pulling on the pelvis. One, hip flexors, glutes pulling on the pelvis. Two, hip flexors pulling on the pelvis down, glutes pulling on the pelvis from the back up. Done. And that's how we do the hip hinge safely to to benefits of our spinal muscles, which are trained to keep the spinal shape so that you can load the spine with the weights. The goal of the spinal muscles and the spine to keep the shape of the spine, to make the spine as hard of a lever as possible, so that the other muscles, hip flexors, can move the spine in space forward or back as we need without overusing the spinal muscles. And in life, it transfers into the nice ability to pick things up off the floor, not by doing this. Oh, nice, great. Gardening, not good. Versus, okay, spine holds, hip flexors, 1. Okay, glutes, 2, no problem. Hip flexors, glutes. And that's how you transfer that skill, very important skill of hip hinging, into the everyday life activity. Otherwise, the older we get, the more control we'll lose over the muscles, and we start bending like this, trying to do something like this, trying to get some support from the knees, or support it like this. That's all good. Use support if you need, but just realize, let's train the muscles of the spine to to hold its shape. Good. Spine is just holding, diaphragm supporting. You want to hinge to pick something, brush your teeth. 1, brush your teeth. 2, washing dishes, not washing like this. Supported hips. 1. Good. Try to apply this technique into your everyday life, because at the end of the day, we want to stay healthy with the everyday activity. That's why we go to the gym and learn all these crazy things about the body. So that's how we do the hip hinge. Please let me know what you think. Let me know how it worked out for you at the gym. Try it. Really let me know. I'm curious. Go enjoy your day. Trainer Maxim with you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.